basis where he like stays at a different lodge every night, and then during the day he goes and visits other other lodges. So I think he's seen a total of like 30 lodges or students. So he's like, yeah, I'm good, and they're all in.
That's probably nice because they're like treating him. They're probably
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
and
but
you know
then
the customers.
yeah, so they're in low season, so there's nobody else in camp, what they call it.
Yeah.
But then it's like also a lot of work for him because he's like doing business meetings basically all day every day. So so nice to see everyone.
I know it's a full house, isn't it?
Yeah, we're recognizing the Waterworks Wonders event team. And I have Richard doing pledge. You ready? You briefed? Okay. We have 2 more minutes. Tammy will introduce you. So the International Water Congress this year is in Hong Kong. And I'm like, could I figure out a way that it makes sense for us to present? Can you get an award?
There's an accident in 15
Oh, really?
Arizona.
Terrible.
I don't know, but Google was reading here.
We have 1 minute.
I'm going to visit a friend.
How about the other day?
I'm sorry, did you say 1 minute?
Correct.
I had to get to the Riverside Chamber, which is like sunny, and it kept doing this. And I was presenting the only item. And it's like, can we not do it? Try to do it 20 minutes early, so I got through. And then we started.
I show 9:30.
Okay, good morning. We will call the meeting of the Board of Directors of Western Municipal Water District to order at 9:30. And Ms. Ford, may we have roll call, please?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Director Gardner.
I am present.
Director Torres.
Here.
Director Dinstead. Director Rizvi.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning. President Roten.
And good morning, I am here.
Thank you. President Roten, you do have a quorum today.
Okay, thank you. I would like to invite Ricardo Gonzalez, Customer Service Field Representative. Oh, I'm bad on Roman numerals, apparently. 4. Like, wait. Customer Service Department to come forward and lead us in the pledge.
Hello, good morning. I'm Ricardo, customer service representative. Been here for 21, going on 22 years.
Wow,
So,
oh my gosh.
if you can, let's rise and do the Pledge of Allegiance. So, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricardo.
Yeah, I'm thinking the only time besides way back in the day in school with Roman numerals is usually the Super Bowl. And it's a long Roman numeral, so just did a little double take there. Thank you, Ricardo, very much, and for your service to Western. We'll move to public comments. Ms. Ford, do we have any?
We have no public comments today. I've received no comments in writing, nor request to speak in the boardroom.
Okay, thank you. And we will move on to the consent calendar. Would anyone like to pull any item, or do we have any comments, public comments on any of the consent items?
We have no public comment on consent.
Okay,
Madam President, I'll move approval.
I'll second.
thank you. Whenever you're ready.
Director Gardner.
Aye.
Director Torres.
Yes.
Director Rizvi.
Aye.
President Roten.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries 4-0.
Okay, and Mr. Miller, any items to be added?
Nothing to add today?
All right. We'll move right into our item 7, action agenda. Item A, approve a project budget for PFAS treatment at Arlington DeSalter Project and award a professional services contract to Tetra Tech.
Derek will brief us on this. Both of the action items today went to Engineering Committee on Monday. So maybe a little redundant for you, but not
okay.
for the public that wasn't at that committee, so.
It does seem like deja vu.
It is deja vu.
I don't
You're
know,
not- You're right, it is
Yeah.
deja vu.
Sometimes I need to be told things more than once, so this is all good.
All right, great.
Thank you, Derek.
All right, well, good morning, directors. This item proposes a forward-looking investment in water quality and supply reliability at the Arlington DeSalter. Staff recommends awarding a $808,700 professional services contract to Tetra Tech to design a PFAS treatment system for groundwater produced by wells 1 and 2 at the Arlington DeSalter. As a reminder, these 2 wells out of the 5 are bypassed the RO treatment, and as such, it's just raw water that gets recombined with the treated water, which works great, except for our current strategy of blending. While it meets the federal requirements currently, the project represents a proactive step to strengthen our long-term system resilience and ensure that the public confidence in the water quality of our system. It reduces our reliance on blending strategies and positions us to adopt future regulation changes, which seems frequent, regarding PFAS, and supports operational flexibility by enabling full treatment of all the groundwater supplies as needed. Tetra Tech will perform pilot testing, process design, site layout, permitting coordination, and full construction documents, including the drawings. Their selection followed a competitive evaluation process, and their experience with PFAS treatment in California makes them a strong fit for this assignment. To fund the design phase, we are requesting approval of a new capital project budget totaling $988,570. This includes the design contract, internal staff support, and a 10% contingency. In addition, staff is requesting a budget transfer of $538,570 from the FY 2025-26 budget to the current year's fiscal year budget to meet matching requirements for the $2 million federal Water Smart grant. We are already actively tracking the PFAS litigation settlements for future cost recovery and considering financing options for the construction phase. Design work is scheduled to begin June 2025 and wrap up by year-end. Construction is expected to begin in early 2026 with a completion target of September of 2026 in alignment with our federal grant requirements. Online, we have Steve Tedesco. He's Senior Vice President at Tetra Tech, and he's attending via Zoom. And we're both available to answer questions. And just to reiterate, the request of the board is to approve a project budget for PFAS treatment in the amount of $988,570, which includes that budget transfer of $538,570 from the future fiscal year to the current fiscal year, and award a professional services contract to Tetra Tech in the amount of $997,920. We're available to answer any questions.
First, do we have any public comment for this item? Okay. Any questions or comments from the board?
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Director Torres. Did you? Okay, we're good.
Director Gardner.
Aye.
Director Torres.
Yes.
Director Denstedt.
Aye.
Director Risby.
Aye.
President Roten.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Okay.
Thank you, directors.
Thank you, Derek. And we'll move on to item 7B, approve a project budget and award a professional services contract to Hanson, Allen, and Luce Incorporated for the Marietta potable water system optimization review project.
Thank you
Mr.
very much,
Miller.
President Roten. Tim will cover this item again as he did on Monday.
Good morning. Development is expanding at a rapid pace and at a higher density in the Marietta service area. Western Water has options to manage these additional demands in the short term. Western Water must build access to new water sources to serve new developments in the long term. A necessary step toward increased supply reliability in this region is the proposed Marietta System Optimization Study. The purpose of the project is to analyze various potable water supply sources to serve the service area. The review will update the hydraulic model, update the previous water supply study for the service area, consider water quality challenges, the cost of supply, capital investments, and water availability. This effort is multidisciplined and includes stakeholders from finance, water resources, operations, and engineering. Members of these teams will collaborate with the proposed consultant, Hanson, Allen, and Luce, to reach a strategic outcome that best serves the customers in Marietta in the near and long term, both in consideration of reliability and practical cost. The professional services proposal submitted by the team at Hanson, Allen, and Luce has been selected by a 5-member review panel through a formal request for proposal process as the best technical proposal and project approach. HAL, short for Hanson, Allen, Luce, has significant experience with Western Water and the Marietta service area system. Most recently, the team from HAL has assisted with the development of a unidirectional flushing plan, a hydraulic model review and water quality analysis, a fire suppression and emergency storage analysis. HAL is represented today by Steve Jones on Zoom. Just Steve Jones on Zoom. The team is highly qualified to complete this work. This item was discussed at Monday's Engineering Operations and Water Resources Committee. Staff is requesting that the Board of Directors approve a project budget of $381,074, which includes staff labor, a contract with HAL in an amount of $217,562, and a 20% project contingency. The available capital budget in this fiscal year is $550,000, which is sufficient for this action. Additionally, the project may be offset by up to $100,000 through a grant award from the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. With that, Steve Jones, the principal in charge at HAL, or myself can answer questions.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comments on this item?
We do not.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. I know we had a discussion about this at the engineering committee meeting, so, but just to be out there for our public, hopefully people.
In case we didn't hear you.
Yeah, well, just so that people know, the question and everything. And I know that we've been challenged recently with a lot of development. I mean, it's been exploding down in Marietta, and that's really been a challenge for us to try to figure out how we're gonna maintain the system, keep up with the pace, and do all those things. So I just wanna make sure, and I know we had talked about this, well, this isn't necessarily this responsibility, but just the interfacing that we're having with the city to discuss all of those concerns, kind of the challenges that they're posing to us with the rapidness of their improving development projects and those things. I just kind of wanted to put that on the record for discussion sake and the minutes.
So executive management has met with the executive management of the city. Staff and Development Services meets on a weekly basis with the planning staff down at the city. We have routine conversations, and we are currently tracking approximately 20 new developments, roughly 2,500 new housing units in that area, both a combination of multifamily and single family, as well as commercial. We're on top of it, doing everything we can.
I would add that this is not our normal path. So Marietta's growing faster than they told us they were going to grow.
Yes.
And so that then kicks us into action because we have to serve the customers. And so, if they're going to I guess, add more development than the long-term plan told us, then we're reaching out to them to find out more. We're not gonna wait around for them to build it all, and then we're gonna come along, because as the developers knock on the door at the city, they also have to kind of knock on our door too, because there has to be enough water and sewer service for that growth.
Right.
And so we're very engaged. I hear you. I think it's very important to keep it on the radar screen here for the public too, because I get those questions when I'm down in Marietta. In fact, Tim and myself met with the city last week, and one of the council members asked point blank, are we gonna have enough water in the future? And they shouldn't ask us that question. They should say, hey, we know we're gonna have enough water, how are you gonna get there?
Right.
And so we wanna make sure that we're on top of this. And, with the state's mandates for housing, a lot of cities are gonna be in this position where they have to grow. And so, it's good, I think it's good that we're even developing better relationships, and the two organizations trust each other, and, we're gonna get there.
No, and I appreciate that too. So, one of the reasons that I got into this whole business to begin with, back in 2003, the city was doing its revision on the general plan, which the city is required to do every 5 years. Certainly, I would hope that we would be invited to at least some workshops or some discussion while they take a look at those. I don't know where they're at with the process for revising the general plan, but that is certainly where they have most of their zoning density changes and different things that they're looking at. And I'm not sure what the percentage is right now of to build out. It used to be 15%. We're probably cutting down on that number dramatically for the number of units that they're putting in for sure. So I just want to make sure that we're at the table and we're having those conversations, that, we keep them completely aware of all the things that we're doing to make sure and ensure that our customers down in Marietta have the supply that they need to have. So, and with that, I will go ahead and move to approve.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Director Torres? Whenever you're ready.
Director Gardner.
Aye.
Director Torres.
Yes.
Director Dinstead.
Aye.
Director Rizvi.
Aye.
President Roten.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Okay, we will move on to reports. Mr. General Counsel, do we have a report today?
Good morning, I do not. Thank you.
Okay, and Mr. General Manager and staff reports.
All right. I have several things, as you're probably not surprised about that. Good news that we reported at the engineering meeting, the State Water Project has increased its allocation from 40 to 50%. So that's really a good thing. That puts, remember, Metropolitan has the rights on the State Water Project. That puts them at about 1 million acre feet of supply off the State Water Project. They'll be in a surplus condition, so that means they'll be putting water into storage. So that's a really good thing. We've had several good years in a row, and we need to pack all this water away because we know we're gonna have several bad years in a row. And I know you as board members remember the tougher years. A lot of people that we talk to in the public, forget that we have dry years because we've had 3 wet years in a row. So we have to prepare for the dry years. Second item, SB 72 made it through Senate Appropriations. So it got over its second hurdle. That's good news. Let me just run through a few of the important meetings that I've had since the last board meeting. We met up at one of many Met meetings on Pure Water, Southern California, or SoCal they call it, to talk about the term sheet for the project, for those that are going to participate in the project. So I listened to that. I find it very interesting that we're talking about a term sheet when the board hasn't taken an action to approve the project yet. And there was quite a bit of disagreement about the term sheet by the Met member agencies that were at the meeting. So more to come on that. Our executive management team met for a leadership training day on April 18th. Great day. Really had some amazing discussions with the executive management team. I'm just always impressed by our executive leadership at Western and how forward-thinking they are. And we're really seeing benefits throughout the organization on their great leadership and the development of all of our leadership skills. Met with the GM, what Devin calls the member agency GM roundtable up at Metropolitan. So that is member agency managers only, and Devin shares some kind of, I don't want to say inside baseball, but he's kind of talking about, you know, the upcoming future hot issues at Metropolitan, which is always really interesting. And I think it's really informative of Devin's leadership style at Metropolitan, that he doesn't want the member agencies to be surprised by anything. One of the things that came out is golden mussels. Have we heard of golden mussels before?
Oh, just recently.
You have them personally? You know, you've all heard of quagga mussels. Well, now we have golden mussels on the State Water Project. And so what does that mean? That it's working its way down the State Water Project into Southern California. What it means is Met's going to go through a very similar process to quagga mussels to control them, and it increases cost to the water because that's more activities that they'll have to do to eradicate them or control them or maintain their facilities where they, you know, grab on and clog all their facilities. So not good news, but not really surprising. You know, we had heard rumblings that they were introduced in California, and it's just really hard to stop those things. Just like quagga mussel, we thought we'd stop it. And, you know, everyone that puts a boat in a lake has to go through an inspection, and now there'll be one for golden mussels along with quagga mussels. Try and slow their progress. So, and beyond that, we talked a lot about business model. We talked a lot about treated water surcharge and some other things, but really, really great discussions that happened in that meeting. From the camp task force and the business model, there were 3 Met subcommittee groups that were formed. One on finance. There was one of those meetings where we talked about the treated water surcharge. That is going to go forward to the finance committee now. We're waiting for, I think that's going to go in June. So really happy that 19 member agencies came together to all agree on a change to the treated water surcharge. There's one agency that disagrees. And so it's going to be a fun time at the Finance Committee for Director Denstead, and then at the board meeting too. But rarely have I seen such a strong coalition of agencies that have basically said, no, despite the pressure up at Metropolitan, we're going to stick together because it's the right thing to do. So, and that's gonna shift, assuming that it gets approved, it's going to shift. Remember, we have this problem of water sales and variable revenue really hurting treated water surcharge, because as agencies roll on to Met's treatment facilities and then roll back off because they don't need them for a little while, well, guess who gets to pay for all the maintenance activities of all those facilities to keep them ready for people to roll on and use them? Western. And all of those of us that are constantly using them year-round are paying a fee so that people can roll on and roll off the system, and they're not paying that same fee. They're only paying when they use them. And so the 19 or 20 agencies that have stuck together have said, that's not fair.
Right.
And so we're really trying to change that. So that's going to be kind of a big deal at Metropolitan when it gets to the board. So that's working its way up from this subcommittee on finance. That's out of the business model. They're doing the same thing on water resources and on engineering. So we have 3 more meetings that we're going to admit. But this is all good because this is coming out of the 10 recommendations that the member agencies managers made to the task force, and now it's been delegated out to Met staff to come up with the details and figure out how it'll work. Because the general managers don't know enough to make sure it works. We don't know all the intricate details at Metropolitan. We're the ones who did the hard work of, hey, we need to change, and then we dropped it right there and said, okay, now you guys do all the hard work to make it change. So lots going on up there. Several of the board members joined us for the Southern California Water Coalition down in Temecula and listened to Carla Namath. That was a really good presentation by her. That same night, I drove up to near Dodger Stadium to do, I was asked by Shivaji Deshmukh over at IUA to come and talk to a bunch of future water leaders to try and develop that next round of water leadership. So that was really, really enjoyable dinner and presentation that was put on by WELL, Water Education for Latino Leaders. So it was fun to do that. Rick and myself and others had a long meeting with Standard & Poor's last Wednesday? I don't know, last Wednesday. You'll recall that we have a AA+ credit rating with them. We went to them 2 years ago and said, we think it should be a AAA rating. They said, man, we don't disagree, but we're gonna put you on a positive outlook, which is like, we're gonna watch you for a couple years, but positively. So that 2-year period is up. And so we met with them and we're pushing really hard to get that up to a AAA rating. So they'll, from that long meeting, that was about 2.5 hour meeting, they're shockingly in tune with California Water. They'll hit Rick with probably 10 pages of very detailed questions. I find it very interesting that they asked very few questions about our finances to credit rating, a ton of questions about water and local water, Santa Ana River watershed, the board of directors, our willingness to adopt new rates to make sure we can pay our bills. Really, really interesting conversation. So we'll report back as we know more. We met with our retail water agency managers last week also. That's a really good move. We share all the Metropolitan data. They're the ones who are buying the Met water, paying those costs. So we're very careful to make sure they're all up to speed, take their input. It was a really collaborative meeting. There is a lot of input from the managers. There's a very bright group of people, and our relationships are outstanding. They have no trouble giving me some guidance of what they'd like me to talk about at Metropolitan, but a really healthy, positive meeting. I appreciate their attendance. All right, that's it for kind of my highlights and some of our key meetings. Our outreach, as you know, on our rates has continued. We met with the city council members from the city of Murrieta, council members Stone and DeForest. We had our virtual customer session, our 2 in-person sessions in Riverside and Murrieta. And then tonight, I'm going to the Mission Grove Neighborhood Association to talk with them. The other thing that kind of flies under your radar screen, but I'm really proud of our HR team. They do a fantastic job of filling spots. I mean, it's not easy, and not just our HR team. I see Bianca sitting back there. We go through 3 rounds of interviews for every candidate before they get in here. And so HR has put together a panel. And the panel is, you know, a lot of the people who are sitting out here. So it goes through 2 different panels and then an interview with myself and Tim. And so 5 last week, management analyst for regulatory compliance, construction management administrator, ops technician, sewer collections, ops technician, mechanical services, and a customer service rep. So these are refilling, and as you recall, the board gave us permission to fill some new positions. So those are really starting to trickle in now, which is even more work for HR. But it's great, and I'm really happy with the way these are working out. We're getting some great people on board. Reminder, Aqua's next week for those of you who are going. And then, okay, this one's a little longer, so prepare yourselves. Get a cup of coffee. I want to talk about the Waterworks Wonders event, and you may see quite a few people in the audience. So the planning group, is that what we're called? Planning group? Planning committee. Planning committee. Alfredo Madrigan, Angelica Dawson, Brandon Munoz, Kathy Rensler, Colin Peterson, Charles Nepper, Chris Mendez, Cody Waitena, David Garcia, Grace Cardenas, James Chatwin, Jason Berenger, Jane Hansen, Jason Mobley, John Wolberg, Ken Smith, Leah Watson, Maribel Aramis, Melissa Bustamante, Micah Emmerine, Michelle Marquez, Monica Pearson, Nydia Doolittle, Rhiannon Ortiz, Scott Page, Sean Diaz, Sharon Druin, Sonia Zeit, Stephanie Mariko, Thomas Cleve, and Tracy Thompson. They did a fantastic job with the event. And it's, I'm glad a lot of them are here. They deserve a little round of applause, maybe. They worked on that for almost a year. And,
It
you know,
showed.
it was a great event.
You guys didn't plan for the rain,
No, we did.
though. Put in order for that.
We started talking about rain 2 months ahead of time, and then we said, oh, thank goodness it's not going to rain. And then about 2 days before, it was, uh-oh, it's going to rain. Yeah, the coordination, the professionalism that all the groups show to pull that together, and the professionalism that every individual team to think about a display and an activity. It's their responsibility as a team to come up with a display that's going to be interesting and informative. And if you walked around and you looked at the little kids, it was really rewarding to see. The one kid, any wastewater? No wastewater guys are here. My favorite kid of the whole event, maybe 10, he was standing in front of the wastewater display. And, you know, they got all the different cones of the, you know, clear water to dark water. He pulled out a notepad and he started taking notes on what they were telling. Martin Lomelli's talking to him and he's like scribbling down notes. And I'm like, that's a treatment operator in the training right there. Just get him an internship right now. I think, you know, for why do we do that? You know, I think it really demonstrates the complexity of what we do to the public. You know, as we go around with these public information sessions and you hear it from your public, people do not understand what we do very well. And this is a great tool to really train the public that what we do is complicated and it takes a lot of people to do it and they have to be highly trained people to do that. And I think we're really getting that message out with some of the communications outreach and the videos we do. But when they come and watch it, I think it's really great.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
So, one, fabulous event. Two, I know you guys were amused by my pooches that were here, so, okay. But three, the thing that I got out of it the most is somebody realized that, a member of the public realized that I was a member of the board. And they thanked me for allowing you guys to go out there and do this event because they actually had direct contact with whoever it was that they wanted to ask a question to. And they didn't have to go through all the hoopla to get it, and they just got to ask their little curiosity question. And so they were really thrilled with, one, how professional our staff were, two, how knowledgeable they were, and three, how friendly you guys were. So I just want to say kudos to everybody for the event, because those are the things that we love to hear, and those are the things that keep us going and drive us. So I just want you to know that an unsolicited comment came right to me from a husband and wife team that were out here, and they had their little bag of goodies that they were carrying around with them, and they got to ask all their questions of all the people. So kudos to you guys.
Well, we're not quite done. I want to invite Melissa up and she's gonna give you her perspective. Now, someone always has to be in charge, and it's a lot of pressure to be in charge. And when it rains, to not lose your mind and still be cool as a cucumber, walking around with your little hoodie on, trying to figure out. We had a little conversation at the start. Should we go to the market and buy 1,000 rain ponchos? I'm like, I don't know. Does a market carry 1,000 rain ponchos? But Melissa was in charge of the event, and she just did a fabulous job. So I want to let her give a summary of the event too.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning, members of the board. I'm Melissa Bustamante. I had the pleasure of, project managing Waterworks Wonders. It was a lot of work, but I will say we had a ton of fun planning it. My favorite part is I got to know my colleagues better. So we all do different things. We had a staff member from each department. I feel like that was really nice to have a connection with every person involved. So I'll go ahead and kick it off. So our purpose and objective of Waterworks Wonders, so it only comes around once every 2 years. So this is our way to give back to the community directly, to humanize us, give a direct connection with the public and our customers. We wanted to foster team pride and camaraderie, and we wanted to build overall community trust through open and transparent engagement. So I want to kick it off with a video. My colleague Micah created this for us. It's like a quick recap. So I know it's short and sweet, but you could see all the smiles. Kids didn't care that it rained, so that was the best part.
It was more fun.
Yeah, kids did not care that it rained, even though staff, we were trying to be very cool, calm, and collected, as Craig said, but despite the rain, I'm very happy with the turnout. We had a ton of people show up regardless, so.
The number?
So this is by the
Oh, there we
numbers.
go.
So this event took over 6 months of planning. We had 31 committee members, 118 Western Water employees present, and then we had nearly 1,000 attendees, regardless of the rain. So very happy with that number. We'll take that as a win. I did want to note that we had over 1,700 RSVPs. We were still getting RSVPs the day of. I was checking my email, and they were coming in. So I can only imagine how the attendance would have been if it didn't rain, so something to consider for next time. But yeah, despite the rain, staff engagement was high, across all departments, so we were very happy about that. We were still serving our customers, having fun, engaging with them with smiles and, a lot of excitement despite the weather, so we played it off very well. So some of our marketing efforts included social media campaigns, radio ads, yard signs and banners at high traffic areas, email marketing through newsletters, air show promotion, community groups, and cross promotion with our partners. So this is like City of Riverside Chamber, the city, partners like that. So a lot of them were cross promoting us over social media and whatnot. So I'll get into some of our activities. So customer service and customer experience. They conducted live demonstrations with the meter. We also had Western Water trivia, a rates Q&A booth, and my Western Water portal signups. So as you can see, they were having fun despite the rain. Then we had CIP there. They had a build a water distribution system. The kids were loving that. Then we also had source control and regular compliance with a what not to pour down the drain, which was fats, oils, and grease education. Development Services had a selfie station booth. HR and Safety had a very busy booth, so they had a safety gear station. We had them set up in front of equipment row purposely. So as people were entering equipment row, they can walk up to their booth, get a free vest, a kid safety vest, and a construction hat. Their booth was busy the entire event, so props to them. But yeah, they had the safety gear station. Then we had the confined space team do rescue demonstrations, so that was a lot of fun to watch. We had water resources with Western Water World, which was grant monopoly. Distribution had a construction cone ring toss. Wastewater had a toilet toss game. They decorated their booth awesome, as well as you could see all the hanging poops and whatnot, so. Mechanical service had pump demonstrations and a washer toss game. Water quality had bottle ring toss and water quality education. Asset management had a fix the leak activity. So this is hands-on. As you could see, they twist the pipe and then water falls through the bottom. So finance had visualizing the value of water. Automation and electrical had electrical control panel demonstration. So that was really awesome to see. You guys built that from scratch, right? So yeah, that was really nice. Equipment row was busy. We did it a little bit different this time with the layout. We made sure that along equipment row, we had their designated booth next to them, so that way it wasn't separated. In addition, we also had the kids' construction zone. So if you walk by the station, yeah, it was a life-size sandbox. And, you know, they were playing with the sand diggers. They were having a ball. So maybe next time around, we'll make it bigger and add some more toys. So that was a really good idea. Activities, we had snack bar, raffle booth. We also had a bunch of external vendors there as well. And then our customer feedback. This was just a social media comment that we saw. Someone posted about their actual experience. As you could see the comment on the left, it said rain poured the entire time, but that didn't stop us from having a blast. We learned so much, and local friends and family definitely plan to check it out next year. So they were very happy. And then we have some videos that she also shared along social media that we would like to share.
Okay, they're adding up these cups to estimate how many gallons are in the average pool. What do you think, Chloe?
I know it's short and fast, but it's an Instagram story. And then this was another one.
Hoping we get them on top before the fire department gets there. Dripping on your pants.
So Charles was doing some sort of demonstration in the rain, so the kids were loving it. But yeah, just overall feedback from staff has been overwhelmingly positive, which we're very happy about. We currently have a staff survey underway along with the external survey, so those results will be coming in soon. Some items that we're evaluating include the layout flow, booth activities, and communication enhancements. One thing I did want to note, that one thing we improved on from 2023 is our whole committee took the feedback from last go-around very seriously. So things that we had comments on, whether they were, you know, mediocre or kind of negative, we made sure to change those, you know, full circle. And I feel like that made all the difference. So I think that's it. Some comments that we received from attendees were that they expressed appreciation for meeting the people behind their water service and seeing equipment up close. They also expressed gratitude for staff friendliness and knowledge, and they were surprised at the scale and complexity of our operations. So some items that we are looking forward to next go around is that we're looking into May dates. Obviously April, it rained on us, so we're kind of looking at a May date for future. So that's in the works. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Did we run out of In-N-Out burgers? No. Wow, okay. All right.
I bet it was close, though.
I bet it was close.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course-
Staff may have helped out at the 11th
Oh,
hour.
there you go.
Okay, all right.
And then, of course,
We
I'm
paid for them,
thinking
we're eating them.
if it
That's right,
wasn't
that's right.
raining, I think we would have run out.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Well, I was going to say this in my board comment, but just to, since we're on the subject, I was amazed that the rain, there was still, all of our staff were still smiling. And the people attending were still smiling. I mean, I think the kids thought it was great to be in the puddles and the rain, and I heard one dad, his little boy was contemplating getting on those sand digger things, and he went up to the seat, and it must have just stopped raining. It was wet. It was very wet, and the seat. And he started to sit on it, and he kind of looked back at his dad, and his dad's like, "It's just water." I just thought that was so cute. And then one of our employees, and forgive me, I don't remember his name, but he was from ops, and he had his son with him, who's probably elementary school age. And to listen to him, we were in that tent that was fairly decent size with a lot of the big blown up pictures, and to listen to him explain to his son what he does, that was just like, oh man, this event is, and I know, can only imagine how much work it is, but it is such a gift to the community, and it just continues to enforce my pride in Western as an agency and serving on this board. And it was just a win-win-win. And rain or shine, you guys just pulled it off, and it was awesome. It was just amazing. So I hope that we always are able to continue that every other year, and I totally get it, why it's every other year. But I just wanted to say thank you, because it was truly a wonderful event. So I don't know if anyone else wanted to say anything, or if you want to wait. Okay. Okay, are we're done?
I'm finished.
Okay. That was quite a report, Craig. Thank you. We will move to director reports and requests. SAPA, Director Gardner.
SAPA met yesterday, as did the Project Agreement 24 Committee.
Oh,
They don't want to hear about
wait.
Dang.
Oh, darn it.
You guys should have made your comments.
Apologize to Jeff.
They can watch the recording.
Well, SAPA didn't go all that well. It wasn't very exciting. It did give direction on a process for interviewing candidates for providing general counsel services to SAPA. We put out an RFP. We got 6 responses. We've created a committee of the general manager, the assistant general manager, chief financial officer, and me, the president, to go through the 6, narrow them down as seems appropriate as we go through it, bring a recommendation for full board interview with some number of the respondents, and then we'll make a decision. This is not necessarily a displeasure with the existing general counsel, but it had not gone out for review in quite some time, and our longstanding representative of the existing firm retired end of the year, and we have a new one. So it just seemed an opportune time to look and see if we're doing the right thing. So we're doing that. And then Director Denstedt, you'll be interested in this. We got a presentation, receive and file on the Leisure strategic plan. Lots of detail. Leisure does a lot with Canyon Lake and Lake Elsinore and the upper part of the San Jacinto River, that watershed. So, and Director Denstedt is our representative on, actually, SAPA's representative on that body. And the PA 24 committee, which is the Inland Empire Brine Line, recommended adopting rates, new rate structure for the year. Most of the increase comes from Orange County Sanitation District's increasing costs for treating BOD and total dissolved solids. So that will come back to the full commission for consideration at its next meeting. SAPA is looking at, SAPA is looking at putting a SCADA system in the brine line. There is not one now, so we can't remotely monitor flows and quality of the the content. They're not looking at doing anything where you would remotely operate anything. It's pretty much a gravity flow system that operates all the time, barring a big problem. So we authorized issuing a contract to begin to design that system. And SAPA is doing some significant remodeling of their building. It'll be improved ADA access, improved building security. Right now, in SAPA, you can walk through the front door and there's nothing keeps you from walking anywhere else in the building.
Dogs can run through the front door, walk through the front door.
Yes, they've been known
I've
to.
watched it happen.
Yes.
Not just dogs. Some other strange things have wandered through the door. So that is beginning, that construction is beginning next week. During the course of that remodel of the building, SAPA will hold its meetings remotely, going to revolve amongst the member agencies to host each of the meetings. It's kind of a contest as who's got the better food. So there's your challenge when they're here. July, okay. So at least hot dogs, right?
I was told they actually are providing the food and we are providing the coffee.
Oh, okay. So, anyway, that's it for SAPA.
Okay, thank you, Director Gardner. Metropolitan,
Next week.
all right. Chino Basin Water Master.
The pool committees meet tomorrow, and next week is the advisory committee, and the SAPA commission itself, Chino Basin Water Master itself meets the following Thursday.
Okay. CDA, we met on May 1st, and I'll just run through a couple things. There was an amendment to our lease agreement because it had come up after their initial 5-year lease, and that went through the committees, and all was well. They felt it was a very fair price, and there were going to be a couple, a little more soundproofing because I guess next door to them, they like to play their music while they work. And so they're going to see if they can tap that down a little bit. And then there was a professional services agreement with Boutier Engineering for inspection services for the Chino 2 desalter and Archibald Pump Station roof replacement project. That was approved. A sole source procurement for spare sludge transfer pumps for Chino 2 from Flow System. And it was mentioned that there's a 19 to 20 week lead time on those, which always boggles my mind. And that money was included, let me make sure I'm saying this correctly, in the budget. So that was, there was somewhat of an overage, but all of it was able to be covered in the existing budget. Next was professional services agreement with Canon for Chino 1 SCADA system. And this is the one where San Bernardino County pays for that. I think they either pay for it up front or they reimburse us for it. So there's no impact on the CDA budget. And then there was adoption of CDA's desalter authority revised reserve policy. And I learned that that's done each year. You probably don't recall, but last year and this year, possibly the year before that, we were able to set aside $5 million in kind of a reserve fund for upcoming projects that we know will eventually be needed. And so kind of trying to pay ahead a bit. So that is looked at each year. Some years there isn't that much available to put into that account. And then item 7 was an amendment, number 6, to joint exercise of powers agreement that created the CDA And this is in regard to board stipends. So originally on the item, it was to approve the amendment, which basically says that the board can decide what the stipends are. And then we were going to talk about what the amounts were gonna be. And the board was not comfortable doing all of that in one meeting. So basically, we just approved the process, which will allow the board to make that decision in the future, probably near future from the way it sounds. But what was I gonna say about that? Oh, what we passed, my understanding is then will come to each board, like it'll come to our board, it'll come to all the member boards for approval of changing the process for increasing stipends. And that was it, I think. Yes, that was it for CDA. So let's see, RCRA, not yet.
We'll meet next week.
Okay, and WRCOG?
So WRCOG, we had our meeting on Monday. There were a couple of key items. So the IRAN program, which is the energy program, received a $1.8 million grant funding, so that's all good stuff. They did their annual report, and very interesting, they performed 59 different site visits, and they have projects in development right now that are estimated to produce $8.5 million in utility bill savings. So IRAN is definitely in a good way. They're moving in a good direction. So, and then the other thing that was covered for WRCOG, they adopted the vehicle miles traveled mitigation program. So WRCOG has a manual now that they're going to put out for development to get credits and offsetting and various different things for projects. So this will be really helpful for cities that are looking to get credits for all of the things that they try to do when development comes in. So that's a good thing. The other thing that we have is General Assembly will be in 5 weeks. So remember, we have the awards that we're giving, and then there will be a vote for any changes to the bylaws. The vote for the chair, the first vice chair, and the second vice chair will all take place for the following year at General Assembly. And obviously, and then we are looking forward to our keynote speaker, Admiral McRaven, who will be coming. So looking forward to all of that here in 5 weeks. It's coming fast. So I hope you guys can all attend. We obviously will have a table or two to have us in play. So looking forward to that.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it? All right, thank you. Did you think of something that, for RCRA? Or no, that was the other one? You've already reported on it. I got it, okay. I just didn't want to skip it. And Sarah?
Was supposed to meet next week, but we haven't. They canceled it. so.
Okay, and how about Aqua?
Aqua Conference next week. So I hope you are all going to be in attendance. We'll have our Region 9 program that will happen on Wednesday afternoon. So I think they have assigned, I think I just saw something that all the rooms have now been allocated for all the different regions. So I think we're over on the Portola side for Region 9. So looking forward to seeing everybody there.
All right, thank you. And director comments. Director Gardner, do you want to start?
Sure. I did attend the Southern California Water Coalition lunch down at Wilson Creek Winery. Food there is excellent, by the way. And as Mr. Miller said, Director Nemeth's presentation was, it was really good. It was very informational. She said some things that I already knew, but she said other things that I didn't know yet. It was definitely worth going to. Riverside, Greater Riverside Chamber of Commerce, Good Morning Riverside is next week. Since all of you are going to be at Aqua, I'm going to be at Good Morning Riverside because Western is hosting it. And I have 5 minutes to say the things that Sarah has provided me that I have not yet read.
20 minutes of material.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
You'll get the music.
And I want to apologize to our staff for not having been able to be at Waterworks Wonders. It's a great event. I think many of our staff know my wife is an invalid, and I could not get her caretaker to be available on a weekend. So that's why I was not there. And that's it.
Okay, Director Dennstead?
Yes. So just a couple of comments. I attended the Women in Water event, so there was, gosh, probably a good 80 women in the room. It was well-attended, and the speaker was very interesting. So talking about leadership, and it's really interesting going through, and especially hearing about leadership from different perspectives and different focuses and different challenges. We've had an opportunity to have some very interesting training over the years, and Nate Sassaman has done his thing here, but to kind of hear just different ideas, different ways that people tackled things and how they overcame things, what they've learned from it, you really just get an opportunity to pull a piece of nugget information for your vault from different individuals. So well-attended event, and I really enjoyed it. I also attended the Southern California Water Coalition, and it's always nice to see, there were, I think, nearly 200 people in the room. Yeah, it was full, it was packed, it was well-attended, and just to get to hear from everybody and see the perspectives, too, of what they take away and what they hear, because sometimes it's interesting what people hear from individual speakers and how they translate that for themselves. It's kind of interesting to get their take on things. I also attended the rates outreach down in Marietta. We had 6, 7 people there. And had a member of the council that was there as well, that it was in attendance, and former council member that was there in attendance. And I always appreciate that staff take the time to do that outreach, to answer people's questions, to provide the information in a very positive, easy, understanding way to do that. So thank you for doing that. Had a meeting with the city as well over that, and I'm going to look forward to another meeting here coming up tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Yes. Okay, tomorrow. So we'll be doing that. And then in anticipation of, I found out about an event, and I took it upon myself to go to it, bought a ticket, and traveled all the way down to San Diego to do it. Admiral McRaven was actually at USD last Friday doing a book signing. And I bought a ticket to that, attended that event. There were probably a good 200 people in the room. It was a very interesting crowd. I was really amazed at, and you always expect people in a certain generation to attend those things, okay, right? It was not the case with this. There were so many young military applicants that wanted to shake this man's hand, and you could really see that some of them really took a lot of pride in their military applications, their JROTC programs, their different things. And you could always tell, I'm telling you, it was really hilarious. You could always tell which ones are really serious about it because of their shoes. Okay? Oh man, some of them had the polish on the shoes like you wouldn't believe coming into that, and were completely squared away. And 18, 19, 20-year-olds that went to go and hear him speak. So I had an opportunity to get his autograph in my book that was part of the ticket, and got to introduce myself and told him I look forward to seeing him in 6 weeks. And so he was very excited to come. He says he has been to Temecula a number of times and is really looking forward to coming back to Temecula. So super excited about hearing that, and just was a really interesting experience for me, because I don't attend these types of functions very often, but I kind of wanted to get the dynamic and see what he was like. So, and figure out how we can take from that and turn it into what our event is going to be at General Assembly. So, just, you know, a little recon.
Exactly. I was thinking you're doing your homework.
Exactly. So, but that, I think, is it for me. Thank you.
That's it. Okay, Director Risby?
All the staff left. I want to I want to thank you all for doing the hard work to put this event together. I had the best time. The rain, I enjoyed the rain. It was wonderful. So thank you. I know it takes a lot of work, so we appreciate you. We see you, and thank you. And we look forward to the, in 2 years. So great job. I did attend the Southern California Water Coalition quarterly luncheon. It was really good, and as I said, as Mike said, that there were some things we knew about, and some information that Carla shared was new to me, and it was really great. So, and it was a full house. When I walked in a little late, and I couldn't find a seat, so so it was a good event. And then I also attended the customer information sessions regarding rates. There were quite few customers in attendance. We got to talk to them. That was my, first session where I had to meet customers. So that was really good. Staff provided great information, great answers to the questions. So that's about it. And happy Mother's Day coming up this Sunday to all the mothers out there, and hope you enjoy the day. And the dads who were taking her, yeah, so all right, all righty. Thank you.
Director Torres?
Sure. I wanted to also say something about Waterworks Wonders. Just most like my daughter, the little one, I was waiting out the rain. I was like, oh, it says 11, it'll be done by 11. I was waiting out the rain, but my little one couldn't wait. So my husband brought her, and she had a blast. She's been talking about it since, but really just phenomenal job. I don't know who's in charge of Melissa, but great job delegating. Yeah, great job delegating something that big, and having that trust in her to put it together. I think that's very telling of your leadership. But also, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's the only thing that's really stood out to me, was like the music was on point. So when I looked over, I saw Evelyn Rivas, and I was like, went to say hi to her. But just, I think the whole event was wonderful. The rain, even though it rained, I think the turnout was amazing. When I came, like I said, I waited out the rain, and it just wasn't stopping. So when I came, it seemed like it was still packed. The people were having a good time. The kids were having a blast. Like I said, my daughter really enjoyed it. Thanks to In-N-Out, I was able to convince my 14-year-old to come with me. Otherwise, he is not, that age. But he came for the In-N-Out, and we got to see some of the booths. But he had a good time, as well as my older baby. But thank you, very, very, very good job. I also attended the rate information hearings. I'm not good with titles of events. Okay, I think I had to look up Waterworks Wonder. I don't even know if I'm saying it right now, but I looked it up 10 times before I posted. I was like, what is it? What's the order? But no, the rate information meetings. I did the virtual one, and I came to the in-person Riverside one. I have to say the virtual one, just phenomenal job. The, the way that you took those survey questions, and really, really good for a crowd that would attend online. So very great job. In person, a customer would say something, and Director Rizvi would look, it's like, is that yours? I was like, yep. Those are my constituents. Yeah, every time something popped up. But just like Director Rizvi said, I think what really stood out to me was in both those sessions was that emphasis that we've talked about before about the staffing needed to operate here at Western. And so I think that shift in the communications, it was very, very important, and I'm glad that it came off very well to me. And so it was just very, very good job. I was pleased. The customers come out with their whatever feelings they have, but it is important to me to be able to say, like, you have been informed, and I think these sessions did a very good job at that. So I am so sorry I will not be able to make Aqua. My daughter graduates this year, and of course, it's end of the year events, so everything, every day we get a new email, like, they're getting a sash for this, and I was like, y'all couldn't plan this before, but, so I won't make Aqua. I know you understand. I'm not missing those to see you guys.
Oh, yeah.
But-
Milestones.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, so I'll be missing it. So I will be joining Director Gardner. I'm not always able to make the Good Morning Riverside meetings, but because we're hosting, I'll be watching your 20-second speech or whatever it was.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
5 minutes he gets.
And then tonight I will be attending the Mission Grove meeting and the Woodcrest meeting. I know that Craig and the team are doing a phenomenal job of communicating. Just a few, residents have been like, are you coming too? And so I'll go. But I've been very confident in just our coverage of those meetings. So, but tonight I'll be going based because of the content. And then lastly, Happy Mother's Day. Feliz Dia de las Madres to those who celebrate Saturday. But otherwise, yeah, very, very happy Mother's Day. Enjoy.
All right, thank you. Just a few, I think most everything great has been said. I already mentioned about the open house. I also attended the Water Coalition. Carla Nemeth I've had the opportunity actually to meet with her a couple of times up in Sacramento, and she is so down to earth. She has this amazingly prestigious position, but you would never know it by how she presents herself. She's real, she's easy to talk to, she's dedicated. I think very highly of her. So I'm very glad we had her as a speaker. I was able to attend the virtual rate information meeting. I know, it's like, what was that called? When you said that, I was thinking the same exact thing, Gracie. And very well done. And, our staff we're just amazing. I know we're not perfect, but, like Mary Poppins, we're practically perfect in every way. So I always tell my kids that's what they can put on my tombstone. I will be going to Aqua, and I think that was it, other than, yes, Happy Mother's Day to all who are mothers or grandmothers or aunts or mothers in a figurative way to others, mentors, that kind of a thing. That's it. So, request for a future agenda item.
Yes.
You mentioned something.
I do. So I have a request for a future agenda item. I would like, since it's really tough for me now sitting up at Met, I don't get to go to ComGov, and sometimes I miss finance, and so there are some components and pieces, and it was kind of highlighted and brought to my attention when we did our customer information session down in Marietta. I would love to get an update, and I think it would be awesome if we could figure out how to dovetail that in, especially for our public hearing coming in, on our customer assistance program. How long it's been in play, how much money we dedicate to it, how many people take advantage of it, and just kind of give an overview of what that is, and when's the last time we increased, you know, what people could apply for, and is that kind of in tune with kind of inflation? Are we kind of keeping pace? Have we depleted that program every year? Our budget, you know, kind of where do we sit with the whole thing? And I think it would be really appropriate if we could give that as an information piece going into our public hearing, so that if we do have attendance, people actually hear about it. Because it was interesting that a longtime resident of Marietta who attended our thing down there was not aware of it. And so,
Well, I'll get a little defensive on that one.
No,
I
for
think it's
sure.
on every single billing,
for
monthly
sure.
billing that we send out, it's right on there on how to contact and get involved in that.
For sure, and maybe it would be really helpful too to know and understand if people get the billing electronically and don't get a paper bill, how that comes out. Because I don't know, I still get a paper bill. I don't sign up for, because, you know, I wonder if we miss people. There are some people that have automated their lives so much that it automatically goes to their bank and they just click on, this is how much I need to pay. So just
And it just could be life. I
oh,
don't look at my bill except for the price, and then I fill it out, and like, I don't look.
100%.
It could literally
100%.
tell me that they're gonna give me $100,000. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I just paid the bill.
Right, exactly. So, for sure, but I would love to just get an update and know where we sit with the program and kind of what our numbers are, because I miss that piece now, because I'm up at Met all the time. So it would be great if we could just kind of give an overview. So that's what I'm kind of looking for.
Any other future items?
Not an agenda item, but I did neglect to mention that I participated in the virtual rate workshop. And I want to compliment staff on the job that they did. This is we did it a little differently this year than we did 4 years ago. And we limited the number of directors who could be at the physical meetings to avoid any hint of a Brown Act issue, since we did not list these as board meetings. We couldn't have a quorum. That didn't apply for the virtual meeting, and actually all 5 of us participated. And it made me.
We watched, we didn't participate.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But I felt a little strange initially that anybody online, any customer online, whether they were in the division I represent or a different one, might say, "Oh, that's my director. I got a question for you," and I couldn't answer. And I worked with Craig, and Craig and Sarah and probably Jeff were involved in putting together the chat piece in the beginning, where all 5 of us directors were identified and our contact information was provided, so that if a person wanted to ask us a question, they had a way to do that. So I appreciate that. That was helpful. As an elected, you really don't want to be somewhere where somebody you represent has a question and you can't say anything. So this was a good solution. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Director Gardner. So our next meeting is Wednesday, May 21st, right here at 9:30. And with that, we stand adjourned at 9, oh wait,